The moment this robot opened its eyes, even the engineers couldn't tell it wasn't human. In 2025, we've crossed a threshold that science fiction warned us about for decades. Humanoid robots have become so realistic that telling them apart from actual humans is no longer a simple task. But how did we get here? And more importantly, what does this mean for our future? Just 10 years ago, humanoid robots were clunky, obviously mechanical, and moved with jerky, unnatural motions. They had limited facial expressions, robotic voices, and there was never any question about whether you were talking to a machine. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has changed dramatically. Companies like Figure AI, Tesla with their Optimus robot, and startups across the globe have developed androids that can fool people in casual interactions. These aren't just industrial machines. They're designed to work alongside us, interact with us, and in some cases, even care for us. The technology behind this revolution involves three major breakthroughs. First, advanced synthetic materials that perfectly mimic human skin, complete with texture, temperature regulation, and even the ability to show subtle color changes like blushing. Second, AI-powered facial recognition and expression systems that can read human emotions and respond with appropriate facial movements. And third, sophisticated motor systems with hundreds of micro-actuators that replicate the fluid movement of human muscles. But what's driving this push toward human-like robots? The answer is both practical and psychological. Humans are naturally more comfortable interacting with entities that look like us. In healthcare, elderly patients respond better to robotic caregivers that appear human. In customer service, people are more patient and cooperative when dealing with humanoid interfaces. Even in dangerous jobs like disaster response, robots that look human can more easily use tools and navigate spaces designed for human bodies. The uncanny valley, that creepy feeling we get from almost but not quite human robots, has been the biggest challenge. For years, robots that were 90% realistic were actually more disturbing than obviously mechanical ones. But we've finally crossed that valley. Modern humanoid robots have achieved what researchers call perceptual indistinguishability in controlled settings. Companies like Engineered Arts with their Ameca robot or Hanson Robotics with Sophia have demonstrated publicly that the technology exists. But what you see in press demonstrations is just the beginning. This is Atlas Generation 5, developed by Boston Dynamics Consumer Division. In this test, he spent 4 hours in public spaces. Only 2 people out of 47 realized he wasn't human. Let's break down exactly what makes these robots so convincing, starting with the most important feature, the face. Human faces are incredibly complex. We have over 40 muscles in our face that create thousands of possible expressions. Modern humanoid robots like Ameca use up to 32 individual motors just in the face and neck area. Each motor controls specific facial regions, raising eyebrows, crinkling the nose, forming smiles, creating frowns, even subtle movements like nostril flares or slight eye squints. But it's not just about having the motors. The AI needs to know when and how to use them. This is where machine learning comes in. These robots are trained on millions of hours of human interaction videos. They learn that when someone asks a question, humans typically tilt their head slightly and raise their eyebrows. When listening, we nod periodically. When thinking, we might look up and to the side. The skin itself is another engineering marvel. Companies like Hanson Robotics developed a material called Frubber, a flesh-like rubber that can be precisely controlled to create wrinkles, dimples, and natural skin movement. It's temperature regulated to feel warm to the touch, and some versions can even simulate subtle variations in skin tone based on emotional state. The eyes are perhaps the most critical element. They say eyes are the window to the soul, and robots with dead, glassy eyes immediately trigger our uncanny valley response. Modern humanoid robots use high-resolution cameras behind realistic eye structures. The irises can dilate and contract based on lighting. The eyes can track movement smoothly and make natural saccades, those quick eye movements humans make when scanning a scene. Some advanced models even simulate micro-expressions, those fleeting facial movements that last less than a second and reveal genuine emotions. While the robot isn't actually feeling emotions, the AI has learned to insert these micro-expressions at statistically appropriate times to increase perceived authenticity. Movement is the next frontier. Tesla's Optimus robot can now walk at nearly human speed with a natural gait. Its balance system uses the same principles as human proprioception, the sense of where your body is in space. Multiple sensors throughout the body constantly adjust to maintain balance, just like our inner ear and muscle sensors do. Hand movements are particularly challenging. Human hands have 27 bones and over 30 muscles. The latest humanoid robots have up to 27 degrees of freedom in each hand, meaning they can manipulate objects with nearly human dexterity. Watch a robot like Figure 2 pick up an egg without breaking it, thread a needle, or type on a keyboard. The movements are becoming indistinguishable from human hands. But looking human is only half the equation. These robots also need to sound human. Voice synthesis has improved dramatically. AI voice models can now generate speech that's completely natural, with appropriate pitch variations, emotional inflections, breathing sounds, and even the occasional or that makes conversation feel authentic. Some robots go further, implementing what researchers call embodied conversation. This means the robot's whole body participates in communication. Hand gestures that match speech patterns, weight shifts, head tilts, and postural adjustments that humans do unconsciously when talking. The AI brain controlling all of this is increasingly sophisticated. Large language models like GPT-4 and Claude power the conversational abilities, while computer vision models help the robot understand social cues, read facial expressions, and respond appropriately. Real-time processing allows for natural conversation flow with minimal delay. Now let's talk about specific robots that are pushing the boundaries. Engineered Arts Ameca is often called the world's most advanced humanoid robot. She can make sustained eye contact, express surprise, confusion, happiness, and disappointment with remarkable nuance. In demonstrations, Ameca can hold conversations on a wide range of topics while maintaining appropriate facial expressions and body language. Figure AI's Figure 2 was designed for the workforce. It can perform complex manual labor tasks while looking human enough not to be disturbing in workplace settings. The company has partnerships with BMW and other manufacturers to deploy these robots in factories alongside human workers. Tesla's Optimus aims for mass production. Elon Musk claims they'll eventually cost less than a car while being capable of performing any task a human can do. The latest version can walk, climb stairs, and manipulate objects with increasing sophistication. In Asia, particularly Japan and China, humanoid robots are being deployed in customer service roles. Companies like SoftBank with Pepper and newer startups creating custom service robots are placing human-like androids in hotels, airports, and retail locations. Initial customer surveys show that once people interact with these robots for a few minutes, most forget they're not human. The healthcare sector is seeing significant adoption. Robot caregivers can monitor patients, assist with daily tasks, provide companionship, and alert medical staff to problems. For elderly patients with dementia, some studies suggest they respond better to consistent robotic caregivers than to rotating human staff, possibly because the robot's appearance and behavior remain completely consistent.
But this technological achievement raises profound questions. What are the ethical implications of robots that look exactly like humans? Should they be required to identify themselves as non-human? What about in situations where human connection matters? Should robot therapists, teachers, or companions be allowed?
There's also the issue of deception. If robots can perfectly mimic human appearance and behavior, how do we prevent misuse? Could criminals use humanoid robots for fraud, infiltration, or worse? Should there be regulations requiring robots to have obvious identifying markers? The economic implications are equally significant. As these robots become more capable and affordable, they'll compete directly with human workers in an expanding range of jobs. Some economists predict this could accelerate unemployment in certain sectors, while others argue it will free humans to pursue more creative and fulfilling work. The social impact is already being studied. Japan, with its aging population and cultural acceptance of robots, is ahead of other countries in deploying humanoid robots in daily life. Early data suggests people form attachments to these robots, especially in caregiving contexts. Is this healthy? Or does it risk replacing genuine human connection with artificial substitutes? Can you tell which is which? 5 years ago, this question would have been easy. Today, it's becoming impossible. The future of humanoid robots is arriving faster than most people realize. Current projections suggest that by 2030, humanoid robots could be common in major cities worldwide. By 2035, they might be as ubiquitous as smartphones are today. The technology is advancing on multiple fronts simultaneously. Researchers at MIT are developing synthetic skin with embedded sensors that can feel pressure, temperature, and texture, giving robots a sense of touch comparable to humans. Teams in South Korea are working on facial recognition systems that allow robots to remember thousands of individual faces and recall previous interactions with each person. Energy efficiency is improving rapidly. Early humanoid robots needed to be tethered to power sources or could only operate for minutes on battery power. Modern versions can work for 8 to 12 hours on a single charge. Within a few years, we might see robots with bio-inspired energy systems that can actually consume food and convert it to energy, just like humans. The next major breakthrough will likely be in emotional intelligence. Current robots can simulate emotions and recognize them in humans, but they don't truly feel anything. However, some researchers are exploring whether consciousness or genuine emotional experience could emerge from sufficiently complex AI systems. This remains highly controversial and speculative, but it represents a potential future threshold. Imagine a world 20 years from now. You might have a humanoid robot assistant in your home that helps with cooking, cleaning, and household management. It knows your preferences, anticipates your needs, and can hold meaningful conversations on any topic. Your children might be taught by robot teachers who never get tired, never lose patience, and can adapt their teaching style perfectly to each student's learning pace. In hospitals, robot surgeons with perfectly steady hands and instant access to all medical knowledge might perform routine procedures with higher success rates than human doctors. In disaster zones, humanoid robots could venture into collapsed buildings or contaminated areas, using their human-like form to navigate spaces designed for people and manipulate tools designed for human hands. Space exploration could be revolutionized. Instead of sending humans on dangerous multi-year missions to Mars, we might send humanoid robots that can operate equipment, conduct research, and build habitats, all controlled by human operators back on Earth, or operating autonomously with advanced AI. But we shouldn't be naive about the challenges. The same technology that enables helpful robots also enables concerning applications. Surveillance, warfare, and deception are all areas where humanoid robots could be misused. We need robust regulatory frameworks before these technologies become widespread.
There's also the philosophical question that we can't ignore. What does it mean to be human when machines can perfectly replicate human appearance and behavior? Our uniqueness as a species has traditionally been tied to our intelligence, our emotional capacity, our creativity. As robots match us in these areas, we may need to reconsider what truly makes us special. Some philosophers argue that consciousness, subjective experience, is the final frontier that machines cannot cross. Others believe consciousness might emerge from sufficient complexity, or that it doesn't even matter. If a robot behaves exactly like a conscious being in every measurable way, Does it matter whether it has some mysterious inner experience?
These aren't just academic questions. They'll shape policy, law, and society in the coming decades. Should robots have rights? Can they own property? Can they be held responsible for their actions? If a robot commits a crime, is the manufacturer liable, the operator, the AI itself? Major tech companies are already forming ethics boards to grapple with these questions. The European Union has proposed regulations for AI and robotics. The United Nations has hosted summits on autonomous systems. But regulation struggles to keep pace with technology that advances exponentially. For those of us watching this transformation unfold, it's both exciting and unsettling. We're witnessing the creation of a new category of being, entities that look like us, think like us, and might soon be indistinguishable from us in most contexts. The question isn't whether this future is coming. It's already here in prototype form. The question is, how we'll adapt to it. Will we embrace humanoid robots as partners and helpers? Will we resist them as threats to human uniqueness and employment? Or will we find some middle path, integrating them carefully into society while preserving what's essential about human experience? One thing is certain. The line between human and machine is blurring faster than anyone predicted. The robots that look perfectly human aren't a distant sci-fi fantasy. They're being tested in labs, demonstrated at conferences, and deployed in limited commercial settings right now. Within your lifetime, having a conversation with a humanoid robot might be as normal as talking to a customer service representative on the phone. Your grandchildren might grow up not remembering a time when robots weren't part of everyday life. The technology that seemed impossible just a decade ago is now merely expensive. And technology that's expensive today tends to be ubiquitous tomorrow. The smartphone revolution took only about 10 years from luxury item to global necessity. Humanoid robots might follow a similar trajectory. So the next time you see a person walking down the street, making eye contact on the subway, or sitting across from you at a coffee shop, you might find yourself wondering, are they human? In a few years, that question might not be as easy to answer as it is today. The age of humanoid robots that look perfectly human isn't coming. It's already arrived. The question now is, what will we do with it? If this topic fascinates you as much as it fascinates me, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll be covering more breakthrough AI and robotics developments as they happen. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and let me know in the comments. Would you feel comfortable with a humanoid robot in your home? As a coworker, as a friend? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.